very much, Cathaoirleach. Leader, we welcome the publication of the figure of 27 billion over the next number of years and eagerly await all the pre-election promises. One hopes that the litany of breaks of promises doesn't follow if you are, in fact, returned to power. One of the details that has emerged is that there's approximately 18 million euro for the refurbishment of Garda stations. And it hasn't been missed by the public that the closure by your government of 139 Garda stations throughout the country has saved just €500,000 euros. Now, I'm sure, Leader, you'd agree with me that the value of rural Ireland far outweighs the price or cost of some €500,000 euros. And I wonder, will the capital plan adequately address the contempt with which this government has pursued the facilitation of rural decline over the last 4 years? I very much hope it does, because the 30 million announced at the ploughing championship last week was nothing short of an insult to the people of rural and regional Ireland. I'd like to propose an amendment to the order of business that Minister Varadkar would come to the House and explain to the House and indeed the people of Ireland who in fact is driving the bus in the Department of Health. It seems that, reminiscent of the Fennelly report, he intends to threaten the sacking of individuals if improvements aren't made in the numbers on trolleys throughout the country. Indeed, August last month, traditionally a quiet month, saw the biggest number on trolleys throughout the country. One wonders how many there will be in January unless the government takes the reins and stops being a commentator on the Department of Health and realises that it is he who's supposed to be driving that bus. There has been a 400% increase in those waiting for more than a year. I apologise. There has been some 65% of an increase in my own county of Sligo. And in fact, the Minister, instead of threatening to fire people who are on his staff, should consider his own position and perhaps resign, because the buck stops with him. And while we'll all acknowledge, and indeed the very first day he took over here, I wished him well. I felt that he had the ability, the capability, and the direct speaking style to get to the bottom of the problem. Sadly, as a commentator, this man is much more of a pundit than he is a player. He's on the pitch. He needs to perform, not threaten staff that they'll be fired. But then, this is what Taoiseach Kenny has done with regard to the leader. So to conclude, can I ask that the Minister would be brought to the House today, that's an amendment to the order of business, and address his failure to acknowledge his position as that in command of the health service, and outline for us what is going to be done to mitigate against the disaster which has seen record numbers on waiting lists and record numbers on trolleys over the last number of months. Thank you.